And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Okay, tonight we're looking at the next system coming across the Bering Sea, pushing rain this evening into the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, rain and fog for the Pribilof Islands, pushing up into the southwest coast. Otherwise, it stays dry with some clearing here. Kodiak Island up into south central Alaska with variable clouds back in toward Norton Sound, the Seward Peninsula. Rain starting to diminish there in the Tanana Valley with just some isolated showers along the Alaska Range, but from the White Mountains northward across the Yukon Flats, rain periods continue, and then either rain or snow, probably snow, any elevation at all in the Brooks Range, with rain or snow or wintry mix out to the Arctic coast, drier in the west. Southeast coast, cloudy skies with a few scattered showers, and then some moisture here over just to the east, keeps a chance of showers over the east side of the Panhandle, just scattered showers to the west. Then a break right off the coast there. This front pushing more rain into south central Alaska. A wet day for the Kuskokwim Valley, rain changing to showers for Bristol Bay. Periods of rain, Yukon Delta, dry to the north there, Seward Peninsula, into the Kobuk Valley, Noatak Valley areas, and much drier on the eastern Arctic coast with diminishing rain and snow showers throughout the day. But an area of pretty good showers and rainfall continue over the upper Yukon Valley. And the Aleutians, not too bad. Some clearing and dry conditions, high pressure out to the west developing. And as this low kicks in with another round of gusty winds and rain, with pretty gusty winds now coming into the Alaska Peninsula and eventually Bristol Bay with this trough here. Rain across much of the interior, cloudy skies, cool temperatures, all the way up to the Brooks Range. But higher pressure out here, dry conditions and light winds for the Aleutians. A little bit of a breeze though for the Bering Sea, but a lot of low clouds and fog out in that area. And a mostly dry day with a few sun breaks for the southeast coast. Coastal water forecast, south coast tomorrow, west winds 10 knots, seas 4 to 5 feet. And then southwest to southeast winds here at 15 knots for the north coast, Lynn Canal southeast at 10. Stevens Passage and Clarence Strait, southeast winds 15 knots with 3-foot seas. And for Monday, light southwest winds at 10 knots for the south coast, and then south to east winds at 10 knots on the north coast, southeast 15 for Lynn Canal, south to southeast winds at 10 knots for the central and southern inner channels. Light variable winds for Prince William Sound on Sunday, as well as the eastern North Gulf Coast, east winds 15 knots for the western North Gulf Coast. Cook Inlet, south winds of 15 knots, southeast 20 knots for Kamishak Bay, and east at 20 with 4-foot seas for the Barren Islands. Cook Inlet on Monday, south to southwest winds at 20 knots, seas up to 5 feet, small craft advisories for the Kamishak Bay area, the Barren Islands, the western North Gulf Coast for west winds at 25 knots. Prince William Sound, southeast at 15. Eastern North Gulf Coast, south to southeast winds, 15 knots. Light variable winds for Kodiak Island tomorrow with dry conditions, seas only 3 to 4 feet. Small craft advisories here for the Alaska Peninsula. West-southwest winds 20 to 25 knots and south 25 for Bristol Bay. And then on Monday, even stronger winds here. Pretty brisk, Bristol Bay down the Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula, west at 30 knots, small craft advisories even on the Pacific side, west winds 25 knots. Kodiak Island, west winds 30 knots with higher gusts, seas 7 to 8 feet. Eastern Aleutians tomorrow, west to southwest winds 15 to 30 knots, west at 15 for Adak and Atka, and the western Aleutians, west-southwest winds 15 to 20 knots. And for the day on Monday, western Aleutians, south to southwest winds 10 to 20 knots, west of 15 here for the central Aleutians. And the eastern Aleutians looking at west winds 15 to 25 knots. For the southwest coast tomorrow, we've got, for the area south of Nunivak Island, winds will be southwest at 20 knots. Yukon Delta coast, St. Lawrence Island, east at 10. Small craft advisories for St. Matthew Island, north winds 25 knots, west at 25 for the Pribilofs with 8-foot seas. And for the day on Monday, small craft advisories here. St. Matthew, St. Paul, St. George Island, west winds 25 knots, seas up to 11 feet now. And small craft advisories for the southwest coast, west at 25 to 30 knots. St. Lawrence Island, northwest at 25 knots, southeast at 20 for Norton Sound. For the Arctic coast tomorrow, about the whole stretch, looking at east winds of 15 knots, seas 3 feet. Chukchi Sea, north winds 15 to 20 knots, seas 3 to 4 feet. Outlook for Monday, Chukchi Sea, north winds 15 to 25 knots, seas 5 to 8 feet, or actually 3 to 8 feet. And for the Arctic coast, winds east at 20 knots with seas at 4 feet.